What's up, Epic 7? We have reached RC21. That's right, Rift Controller 21 for Nightmare of the Oceans Rift event, and this is where the event starts getting crazy good to farm. A lot of wild stuff happens at RC21, and I'm going to cue you into some of the coolest tech you've seen for this event. So let's jump right in and talk about the teams we have. First, let's talk about the Rift controllers that you get, the Rift fragments that you get at Rift Core 21. So at Rift Core 21, 3 new fragments appear. First is the Dimensional Fragment of Sealing, and what this does is if you have no Soul Weaver on the team, it grants immunity, undispellable, and it lasts the entire time the fight is going on for the whole team. So you'll never take debuffs. This lets you run without a Soul Weaver, and in fact you have to run without a Soul Weaver for this fragment to even work. So this lets us dump Bernard. I know. I told you go pull on the Mystic Banner, get your Bernard. You really need Bernard for this. Bernard's so good for this. Yeah, it turns out he's not even needed. Now, Bernard can still be used, and he is good for people who don't quite have the gear to pull this off. I'll explain all of that here in just a minute. Next, we have the Dimensional Fragment of Conflagration. This one allows Ranger heroes to extend the debuffs. So if you are running Bologna and you decide to keep Bernard on the team, this lets you clear very fast. I think for people who don't quite have the gear, or the people that don't have Wukong, this is probably the best one to take. Bologna, Bernard, and you run the second team we're going to run, which is the one without Wukong. You'll want this fragment on. And the third is just the one that extends the Rift counter force by 5. That's the number of turns you have to clear Rift before it times you out. This one is extra good for people who do not have Bologna and do not have Wukong. This one will allow you to get 5 extra turns, which will be important because without Wukong or Bologna, it's going to be a little bit of a slower slog to the end, so this one can help you overcome that. So 3 different Rift fragments for 3 different needs. If you're using Green Auden as your defense breaker, or if you're just running without a defense breaker, you use this one. If you have Bologna on the team but no Wukong, you use this one. And if you have Wukong on the team, you can use this one because Wukong can be your healer. So, for the first team, we're going to be running the fastest team, and that's going to involve Wukong. So, because we're running without a Soul Weaver, we turn on the number 2 Rift Fragment so that Wukong can be our healer. And then we turn on the number 3 and number 1 fragments for RC 8 and 15 because these all let warriors do amazing things, and Wukong is an amazing warrior, so we give him the stuff. And then we turn on the Dimensional Fragment of Sealing so that we can kick Bernard to the curb. This is the fastest team that I've found to date. This is the one that you use if you are whale farming this, right? It's a hunt buff event and you want to squeeze as many of these into a day as possible, burn through leaves as fast as possible for your buff event. First, Wukong. Now, without Touch of Rekos on Bernard, we're going to be in the range of potential death here. So I strongly recommend that you do something to get his health up a little bit higher. Just 800 to 1,000 more HP should be enough. You get him to 13k health and he'll not get one shot. But if you find your Wukong is occasionally getting one shot, just squeeze a little bit more HP on him. Another 800,000 HP on him, and this build will be fine. I've got him on the Victorious Flag because that helps us stay alive at this low of a health range, and he is just built for Giga damage. It's the exact same Wukong we've been running up to this point. Second on the team is Bologna. She's going to be our principal defense breaker. Defense break is not needed. You will clear without defense break, but if you get the defense break, it goes so much faster. That's why I'm running her on Elegiac Candle for an extra 40% chance to defense break. That way, if her 100% chance gets 15%ed, the artifact can maybe proc another 40% chance and give us a second shot at the defense break. Not required, but without defense break, the runs are a little slower. I'm running her on the number 2 EE so that Butterfly Fans cooldowns happen every 2 turns instead of every 3. More AoE spamming, more stability, right? Other than that, she is speed tuned to go 3rd in line just so that she goes after the Kraken and can get the defense break up for an extra turn. 105% effectiveness is the threshold. Anything above 105 is wasted. Anything below 105 hurts your chances. So try to be at or above 105 effectiveness. Pump the rest into damage. The third unit on the team is Vivian. I want Vivian to be my second fastest or fastest unit because we're going to be running with immunity on the team You don't have to worry about cleansing, so she can even go first. Vivian is just built for damage and more damage. I've put her on the Radiant Forever artifact for 50% more damage. You get this from the Hall of Trial shop. If you don't have this artifact, just put her on Caladra and you'll run just fine. You can even put her on Edika's Scepter to help cycle her S2s a little bit. Now Bernard. This is the Bernard we would be running if we didn't have the RC21 Fragment that made Soul Weavers useless to us. So Bernard, get the heck off my team. We're going to replace Bernard. Now, who do you replace Bernard with? Well, you can replace Bernard with a defense breaking unit like Green Auden. You could put Ram on there. Ram's got a defense break on her S3. Really anybody that you want to help give you an extra chance at defense break. The other thing you can do is put an ungeared unit whose friendship isn't maxed that you're trying to friendship farm. Now sure, he'll get one shot right out of the gate with his friendship artifact. He'll get one shot right out of the gate, but that's okay. This team can 3-man it, and you can use this team to speed friendship farm. But if you're looking for the highest speed way to do this, you put an extra unit for extra damage on here. So I'm going to run Mui, because Mui brings a lot of damage to the team, especially if she is built for it. So I put Mui on a damage build. I don't care about her effectiveness because I don't care about her debuffs. I don't care about her EE because I don't care about her debuffs. I put her on a damage artifact. Now her cooldowns are pretty slow, so you could put her on Prophetic Candlestick to cycle, but I think this clears fast enough that you don't have to worry about her artifact or her skill cooldowns being so long. She's not going to take that many turns because this will clear fast. Other than that, I just packed a bunch of damage. A Destruction or Rage set probably would have been better, but this is what I had laying around, and it looks, you know, 3,500, 330 crit damage. That should do pretty good damage. So at the start of the fight, we get hit, and everybody would take debuffs, except we have that permanent immunity buff, so no debuffs stick, which lets Vivian go right into her AoE attack. Remember, that SWAT can kill you if you don't put more HP on your Wukong, so don't hold out on that. Bellona gives a defense break, and now we start chipping away at those tentacles. Look how fast we're stacking up those debuffs. We got a 6-turn defense break, guys. Between Wukong and Mui both being on the team, you will be able to really stack up the debuffs and make sure that you don't have to deal with too many tentacles throughout the fight. We're under a minute, and we're already more than halfway through the fight, guys. Vivian hits so damn hard in this. Bellona comes in with her S2. Look at all of those debuffs. Even though we go down the swirling toilet bowl of death, we're going to keep the lion's share of those debuffs, but most importantly, that defense break. Wukong hits. And there we go, dead with 13 rounds left. This was like under a minute and a half. This was like a minute and 20 seconds. This is faster than a lot of hunt clears. So you're actually farming Rift on par with farming hunts. So I think this is a fantastic team if you are trying to burn through thousands of leafs and it's a buff event and you're just going for maximum clears in the minimum amount of time.